Too legit to quit.
Too legit.
It's like God's gonna come down from that cloud.
Oh, may the 4th be with you.
It is the most wonderful time of the year. May the 4th. It's May the 4th.
It's May the 4th. Sorry. We're
He's
driving in LA.
He's driving in LA.
It's like,
we might die.
yeah.
But so excited because it is Star Wars Day. It is Star Wars month. I mean, in this household, it's Star Wars every day. Every day is Star Wars. But we have a really fun day planned today. We are first going to Disney Studios to watch the Maul Shadow Lord Finale, which is insane because we've never been to Disney Studios, so we really don't know what to expect. But we're going on May the 4th, so I can't picture a better day to do this. And you guys know that we got to go to the premiere at Lucasfilm, so it's just really cool that we're getting to do this with the community and with the fandom and experience this all together. So very excited to bring you guys along. And then later tonight we are going to Star Wars night for the very first time. We have never been there, surprisingly. We've been to Disneyland on May the 4th, but we've never done like the Star Wars themed Disney After Dark. So super excited about that. And we were gifted these tickets very kindly from our friend Jen Marie, Anakin and his angel. I'm sure you guys know who she is. Her and her husband unfortunately were not able to go tonight, but they passed the tickets along to us. So that was just the best Star Wars Day surprise ever. So get ready for a full day of Star Wars. Who knows what's gonna happen, but so excited for today and so excited to bring you guys along.
Disneyland.
I get tattoos.
I hear Star Wars music coming from over there. Jesus.
You want me? I need this. He's eating him.
Oh my god.
He's
I love that.
him.
That's cool. I actually also want that. Yeah, it's like a what are they called? Canteens?
Ooh.
Hey. What's that?
So cool.
What is that?
Jedi?
What is
I'm
that?
sorry, Jedi.
Official?
I want this.
That's actually really
I
cool.
like the propaganda too.
Yeah, propaganda and cool art all in the same.
You got me.
You know. Oh, that's cool. Look at that jacket. Oh my god, it's giving Kiss. It's giving Sith. It's giving Letterman. It's actually really cool.
Sith.
Yo.
This is too legit.
Too legit.
Too legit to quit.
Too legit.
This is crazy.
This is insane.
I never thought I would ever be here.
No.
Let alone get excited. Little birds are chirping.
Yeah.
Sun is shining.
Snow White's over there singing to the birds. Pluto's over there pooping on the lawn.
Hey!
Everybody meet up there and just leave.
not your voice that speaks, but it's Maul's words that I hear.
Brad Rao is here. And series creator Dave Filoni is here. Welcome. Have a seat. Let's take it back to the pitch of this show and the conversations, Dave, that you had with Matt and Brad about bringing us Maul Shadow Lord. What was sort of the impetus of the idea? How did it all start?
Well, we wanted to make a show people would watch, so we said, let's make a show out there with Maul. I don't know. I mean, I've been at this a long time now, and you know, we want to give people something great, and it's a lot harder than you'd think. 20 years of Star Wars stories, and what do you do? You know, George would say the hardest thing to work with is a blank page. And after Bad Batch, which I thought they did a great job with, to, you know, make it even better. So, and how do you do that? And I think that what we attacked wasn't just the story, but it was, we wanted to attack the visuals, the art, the look, the style, the animation. Animation as a medium has progressed so much since 2005 when we started the Clone Wars. And really, I credit the industry and just all the talented people that have entered it in the years since I've been, you know, at Lucasfilm Animation. You see what people are accomplishing out there, even at home, students, the work. It's so inspiring that everybody here is challenged to come up with something truly great, you know, visually. Because for me, animation begins with the visuals. You know, it has to really connect with you. And I know Matty loves his metal music, and so I said I want this show to feel a little more ripped, a little more edgy, a little more like a painting, a little nastier.
A little metaler.
You know, a little more metal. I mean, it's about Maul. And I just always saw a responsibility to the character Maul because George asked us to bring him back to life. And that was particularly hard to do because he was cut in half. And, but what we found, and you know, George always has such great instincts on character, was we made Maul a bit more dimension than just a weapon that fights with a lightsaber. We made him and showed that Sidious has taught him a lot of the philosophy of being a Sith Lord and what it means to tap into your power. And to me, a lot of Star Wars stories really work best when it's putting to young people the decisions between, you know, being selfish and being selfless, tapping into your anger quickly and doing the wrong thing and then cascading again and again and again because you can't admit you're wrong. The hardest thing, it seems, in life is to say you're sorry or to admit you're wrong or to apologize. And that is why the dark side tumbles you down, because you can't overcome those things. So they're very relatable, and that's why we've talked about Maul being a relatable character that way, because he's a person that can't get over it and not let go of things. So those are reasons why, and those are the initial discussions, and Matt, Brad, Athena, and I, and we've got to point out Athena because she makes all that happen.
Incredible set piece with the story, with the barge getting across, and how do you guys work to keep the fight so character motivated and situationally so interesting?
That's a great question, and thank you very much, David. You know, it's the way Dave always taught us. He said, when we're making action, there has to be a story to the action. What's the story, Brad? Tell me the story. Tell me the story in the action. So, you know, I had a bunch of ideas, Maddie had a bunch of ideas, but really it's with our episodic directors and our story artists and our editors. We debate, we plan, we map things out, we figure out where everyone's going to go, and then we just constantly iterate using our previs tool to create a bunch of different scenarios, and then we edit like mad. This one was tough. There's a moment in the middle of the fight where everybody crosses sabers at exactly the same time. And that was thanks to one of our great story artists, Nakia Choi, working with Stu Lee.
Had amazing episodes with Maul in it. That collaboration obviously yielded a lot of amazing episodes, and now we're continuing on. How does it feel?
Terrifying, but as I've learned from Dave, fear is the path of the dark side, so I suppose it helped my performance. That's a good answer. Thank you. That's what I'm working on.
He's on a rant.
It's the entire thing is the team. That's what it is for me. I have extraordinary support, from these people on stage and the entirety of Lucasfilm Animation.
Vader's I had ever seen. The way that he moved in that season, the way that he just kept coming after our heroes in Star Wars Rebels. I wanted to ask you about Vader and kind of the challenges to get that balance right in this particular era. Vader was so terrifying in these episodes, don't you think?
Yeah.
So what does Maul know? What has he figured out? How do we what's the
You did so well with the question I can answer, and then you went into a place where I was.
Yeah, but I gotta try.
We were doing this one thing, and then
Well, okay, I got greedy.
I'm not falling for that old one. Vader, the key to Vader for me is that he's not Anakin. He doesn't recognize that. He can't. Anything that reminds him of Anakin, he's going to destroy. So when he sees a Jedi, he's going to destroy the Jedi, because the Jedi would remind him unconsciously or consciously that he betrayed all of his friends and everything he knew and the life he grew up with. For what? For nothing. He lost everything. He made a bad trade. He was lied to, he was deceived. He can't accept that truth. So he's even farther down the path than Maul. Maul is struggling to let go of hate, but Anakin got consumed by it. If he were to face what he did, it would destroy him more. I find a lot of pity for him because of what he did and the depth of his treachery. And that's Darth Vader. Anakin's trapped in there somewhere, and Darth Vader won't let him surface. And so to me, the key is not to actually give him a character. He's devoid of it because he doesn't care. Darth Vader does not care. He does not have compassion. He does not see you. He sees the thing he wants to destroy, and he will do that. It's like the same feeling you got in Rogue One when he comes down the hallway. He doesn't talk to those guys. He's going to destroy them. He has one mission, and all of his remorse and all of his anger and all of his hate is in every swing that he does. It's like that's how it resolved when he saw Ahsoka. He wants to destroy her. She, of all people, would remind him of who he was. Yeah, I gotta destroy that. I can't face that. And so like Obi-Wan, he wants to destroy that. So he is a destroyer, Darth Vader, and critically, only his son, only his offspring could make him spark, could make him see something. But at first, selfishly, you and I can rule the galaxy. That's where he goes. He doesn't come all the way back. It's a long process. So, and the reason for that is because this is George's character. This is the backbone of the whole thing. And you don't want to do anything that interrupts that or changes that or diverts that. And this doesn't do it, because this is the price you pay when you give into your anger, when you give into that terrible side of yourself. And it should terrify all of us, because we're all capable of that depth of terror. We're all capable of doing the wrong thing. Dockie's capable, Devin's capable, Maul's very capable, but so is Lawson, Riley. They're all capable of doing terrible things. It's not something that's just for the Sith or the Jedi. And that's like, Han, he can be more selfish. I'm only in it for money. Or by the end, I'm sorry, he chooses to care about somebody more than himself. These are the lessons that George is trying to teach us and wants to show us in these stories. And so that was the important thing to reflect. If you dare to put Vader in a story, you have to do it for the right reason and then show him the right way. So yeah, he's a powerful character, and they studied the heck out of the animation, the movement, the physicality, and I think surpassed what we did in Rebels. I mean, and it's funny, it's a lot of the same team. And you would have been there on Rebels, and had to animate him the first time. So you want to always get better. And I think that's hopefully what the team has done here. They've gotten better and gave you a better Vader than we gave you before.
How this story unfolded in terms of the choreography, the balance between Daki and Maul, to their vocal performance, and more. You know, you can hear the physicality of it, you can hear the emotion. What was it like? Can you take us to recording that episode?
Oh my gosh, and Gideon is in the house.
Yes, she is.
It was emotional. I'm sitting here, I've seen this episode literally hundreds of times, both of these episodes, and I was tearing up listening to everybody react. When we were in the booth, it was very emotional, and it was this beautiful, terrible thing that Whitworth might have corrupted Gideon in the booth. The dark side.
I would never do that.
And,
No. I was just going to deny. No, Gideon is extraordinary. The entire cast is extraordinary. And it has been such a pleasure to see these people come into Star Wars and bring so much into it. I mean, don't you feel that?
oh my God.
Well, I watch these guys in the recording studio, and I'm like, who wrote this stuff? And they just watch them go to town, and it's amazing. It's a quantum leap from the page to what actually comes up on screen.
Yeah, she's surprising, Gideon. She's wily. She'll surprise you. She surprised me. You know what's interesting is I can't perform. You would think after 15 years or so I could perform the character, but no, I can't perform it without her. I can't do it. I don't know what am I responding to? What is she going to throw at me? So yeah, and that goes for all of the actors on this show. They're so surprising and so spontaneous, and Brad does a great job of bringing that out in all of us.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Come on, a pin for you.
Very much. Oh, sick.
Thanks.
I'll send it to
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you so much. Thank you. Is that the Grim Reaper? So we watched it last night because we didn't want to get anything spoiled, but seeing it on the screen was so much cooler. It was so insane, just like big screen, the full audio, hearing like the music and the sound effects and everything was just insane. So that was such a cool experience. Also, there's just something so special about getting to experience it with an audience, because usually you're just at home or you're in a movie theater, but it's like not as loud. But like when it's all just die-hard Star Wars fans reacting to it in real time with the cast and crew in attendance, it's just insane. Like the energy is just crazy. So that was such a fun experience. I'm so glad I got to do this. What'd you think?
What did I think of what? Vader? Sorry, spoilers.
Spoilers!
I thought that Redacted was really cool.
That scene Redacted with the character
Yeah.
Redacted was incredible.
Was
And when he did that Redacted thing,
to the redacted person.
yeah, it was incredible. Amazing.
And it came out of the redacted.
When he came out of the
Oh my God, that was
Redacted,
crazy.
they gifted us posters of The Man. The scene, The Man, the finale. This is immediately getting framed, and I'm not an autograph girly, but might have to get this on.
Give us this.
It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Got it this time.